We are here.
We did it. It's just the small wins.
This it is. These are just the small wins. Well, let's give a proper introduction. You guys, welcome to Keys to Success podcast with Talisa and
Deborah Douglas.
yes, and this podcast, I'm going to let Deva talk a little bit too, but this podcast, yes, we're going to be talking about real estate, but we're going to be talking about all things as it pertains to being an entrepreneur, being a woman, being a Black woman in this field, in this industry, and what that is like on a day to day when you are a mother, when you are a wife and when you were just a boss out here trying to build an empire. And so we're just going to just dive right in. I just want to just check on my girl, Deva. How are you doing? I know that you're in Arizona over there getting that knowledge. So, how has your week been?
It has been good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. But just like Talisa said, like we are here to talk about the realness of real estate and how we navigate through this business. And we all know that this business is a predominantly white business, but we are going to talk to you about how we overcome those obstacles and we're still in here killing it and we're still rising to the top. So we're just excited to share, and hopefully this can bring value to you where you can love on us and tell us what we need to do and what you want to hear from us, because this is really about us empowering you with the tools to go out and be a boss that we know you are.
Absolutely, absolutely, Deb. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, how is it going at the conference? What are you guys learning? Tell me, how has that been so far?
Yeah, so I am at the Tom Ferry Blueprint. For some of you guys that know me, I recently signed up for the Tom Ferry coaching because, yes, I am an investor, but I'm also a realtor and I have a team. And so I'm always trying to make sure that I am being the best leader I can be for my team. So by doing that, I signed up for Tom Ferry. So this is one of the conferences that he offers throughout the year. And it's really about just creating your 2023 plan of how you're going to overcome obstacles, how you're going to get your business up and running, and really thinking about those little details of the business, the meticulous things that really make or break your business. So we've been talking about planning for 2023. What are some things that you learned in 2022 that you want to take, and what are those things that you want to just drop like a bad habit that you saw that did not have an ROI, and you let those go. So it's been really stretching me, I will say. I've met a
Yeah.
lot of great people that I plan on networking with throughout different states to just expand real estate. But it's been really good. And I like to be coached because the only way to keep being successful is to understand and humble yourself and know that you don't know everything. And be willing to ask questions and be willing to just say, let's see what else I don't know that I can uncover.
Seriously, I feel like some of the best connections that I've made have been at conferences where there's just other like minded people and just hearing other people's stories and hearing their experiences. Like you said, it does. It just opens up your mind to, wow, I didn't think about things in that way. And oh, maybe I can implement that in my business. But I did hear you mention that, you do have a team. And so I want to dive into that because yes, you have a team and you're having to nurture your team, but the exact same way that you have to nurture like your kids and your husband. So how do you manage, a team, manage being a mom, manage being a wife? How do you manage them all? And what are some things that you feel like you could be doing better at? And yeah.
Ooh, that's a lot. I mean, everything. I feel like I can be doing better in every aspect of it. I think when a lot of people see me, they're just like, oh my gosh, you're doing it well. There are days that I feel like, you know what, I killed it in my business, but I just really bombed the mess out of being a parent today. And
Girl, can we talk about it, please? Can we talk about it and be real about it, please?
And so I think I just, one thing my husband has told me, give yourself grace, because I am somewhat a perfectionist of like, I just want to be there for especially my nucleus of people, which is my team, my family, my kids. But I'm learning that, hey, if I just show up and I give you my love and I'm genuine and you know my heart, all that other stuff, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm there and show you I care. But one thing I do, I pay for a lot of stuff. I will pay people to do stuff for my time because I want my time back. I'm not gonna lie. So I do pay someone to help me clean up my house because I ain't got time to be messing with it. I just
Girl,
want to
I
walk in and it's clean.
understand.
You know,
I understand.
I mean, I do pay, I do, and I make my kids do, have chores where somebody better clean up. We need to make things done. I always tell my kids, I'm not your maid, and they know the drill when I say everything has a home because I am quick to go around and pick stuff up and throw it away and say, you know what, you didn't put it in the home. It's too many people living in this house. You don't know who touched it, but put it in the home if it's really valuable to you. So
Right.
I mean, I take it one day at a time. What about you? Because I know your life is just as crazy as mine.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, Deba, same as you, I really try to have my kids pull their weight as much as possible. I feel like my husband and I, we are showing up every single day, so that we can provide a better life for them. And so in return, we do ask our kids to do a lot around the house. My son is autistic. So a lot of people, they don't really give their kids that have disabilities, responsibility. But from the very beginning, I was like, we're not going to treat him like he has autism. So
Yeah.
you will be washing these dishes. You will be feeding these here dogs. You will be mowing this here lawn.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, it really does help out a lot when I come home and I know that the kitchen is going to be a mess and I get there and my son has cleaned up the entire kitchen and washed all the dishes. Like, like stuff like that, it really does just like it melts my heart because we're out here grinding and Debbie, it's not easy. Similar to you, I feel like I fail at the mother department. um, I would honestly say I probably fail at that more than I do my business. I feel like sometimes I pour so much of my time and my energy into the business that my kids and my husband kind of get like the leftover Talisa.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it's really it's kind of messed with me over the years because this isn't new. But what I've done to try to get some sort of a balance is we have our four pillars. And so, our four pillars are our body, our business, our bond with our family, and then our bank account. And
Yeah.
so every single week, I write down those four B's. And underneath every single B, I'll have lines where I'm going to write, what am I going to do this week that specifically targets this area of my life?
Mhm.
So, for instance, my family bond. This week, I wrote down my daughter's been running at night. She's been taking these jogs at night. And I've been trying to get her to work out with me in the morning, but she's just not a morning person. So I said, you know what? This week, I'm going to choose 2 days and I'm going to run with her in the evening. I'm just
Oh,
going to,
that's beautiful.
that way we can have that time to spend. And it's not things that where we have to pay for something or you have to spend a lot of money. It's just me just trying to be intentional about spending that specific time with each person that I love so that I don't let the whole week go by without letting that person know that I love them. You know
Oh,
what
I
I mean?
love that. I love that.
And so that's kind of how I try to stay balanced. I'm not going to say that that's always perfect, but I can tell you one thing. Since I started doing this, my relationships have gotten so much better. And by when I say my relationships have gotten better, my daughter is 17, so we don't get a whole lot of, I love you, mom. I love you, dad. It's just she's doing her own thing right now. And at the beginning of this week, she sent a text to myself and her dad. We're on this group chat. And she just said, I just want you guys to know that I love y'all so much.
Oh, oh my gosh. I love that. I love that.
And girl, I was just like, I was having such a crappy day. And just to see those words in a text message, I was just like, Nehemiah, you just like lit up my whole little bitty world. Like, you have
Yeah.
no idea. So I mean, we balance it out the best that we can. We're not always perfect at it. I think there's always an area where we're gonna feel like we're slacking, but I feel like as long as we keep showing up every single day,
Yes,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Just keep.
Absolutely.
And so, one thing that I want the people to know is that it is okay to not be okay. You know,
Yes.
it's okay to not be superwoman every single day.
Yes. And give yourself grace. Like when you really think about the world and think about people, especially like Instagram and Facebook will have you thinking that everybody is perfect, because think about it. No one is posting when they don't feel good. No one is posting when, you know what, the whole deal just blew up in my face and now I still got to come out with money that I know I don't have. No one posts that. But they
No.
post closing day, they post under contract, they post got this seller finance deal, but no one posts about the real stuff that happens. And so take that into consideration and don't compare yourself to somebody else and where they are in their journey, because we don't know really what they really are going through. Because I'm telling you, it probably took them 10 to 15 shots to get that picture that they posted in the first place.
Okay.
And I think that's the biggest game changer for me, because I stopped comparing myself to other people. And I used to go down this tunnel of just like, well, look at what they're doing. They're doing something on the weekends and I'm just stuck at home doing nothing, and feeling like you're missing out. And I remember crying so many times when people that I thought would invite me to something, they didn't invite me, and then I'm feeling less than, or feeling like I'm not adequate enough. And then I
Right.
started realizing, like, there's probably a reason why I wasn't invited. And there was a reason why God put me in that situation, to feel what I felt so I can continue to put my head down and focus on what God really called me to do. And
Mm.
so that type of going through that and realizing that I am enough, I am worthy. And if they didn't see fit for me to come or be a part of that, that's just not where I should have been. But
Oh,
being able to be comfortable in that, you start learning more about yourself, and then you start giving yourself even more value, and then you start realizing I don't have no business being over there in the first place.
right. Oh my goodness, Debbie, you just said a word, girl. You really just said a word. That time of your life, it can be lonely, you guys.
Yeah.
It can be very, very lonely. And like Deborah said, like you really, during that time, that's the time where you really start to learn yourself. You start to learn
Yes.
your likes, you start to learn your dislikes. And I think that through that transition, the people who are meant to be in your life, the people who are meant to stay in your life, they're going to be there regardless. They're going to be
Yeah.
there through thick and thin. They're going to be there through the ups and downs. But those people who are not able to, they aren't able to hang on as you continue to elevate. What I think somebody said, it's like a rocket ship, and so
Yeah.
it's just like as the rocket ship is going up, there's certain elements that can't go past a certain level, and so they start falling off before the rocket really gets to its destination. And I
Yeah.
really feel like that has occurred, especially just this year alone. I feel like there's been so many pieces that have fallen off of this here rocket,
Mhm.
that at first I thought it was something that I was doing wrong. Why am I losing friends? Why am I why am I not talking to so and so as much as I used to? Like, what is going on? Is it me? But you know what?
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, it is me, because I'm growing. And with that growth, there are certain people that are not going to want to they're not going to want to see you thrive and grow in this way. They're not used to seeing you in that light. They're used to just seeing
Mhm.
Talisa from high school, Talisa
Yeah.
that got pregnant freshman year. Everybody has their own vision of what Talisa is or who Talisa is, that I literally had to step away and figure out, well, who am
Mhm.
I? Everybody in my family thinks that I'm this superstar. They think that I'm the person who can loan out everybody money and I'll just say, okay. I'm the person that is not going to hurt your feelings because I always want everybody to be happy and I don't want it to be
Yes.
confrontation. And so when I got to a point where I'm like, I want to stick up for myself, and this may feel confrontational, but I know that it's productive to my growth. And when people take that the wrong way and they take offense to that, that's when I know that I've outgrown somebody. And
Yeah.
it's time for me to find friends, find people who view life the same way that I view life. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. And you know what is so amazing? God is so, so wonderful and so amazing that during that time that you're trying to figure out, it's kind of like that awkward middle school age type of feeling where it's kind of like puberty, but you're going through that success journey of like, I feel like I'm working in the right path. God will put you in line with people that will bubble up to the top and really be your cheerleaders, really be the people that were rooting for you, will be the people that will just shoot you a text in the middle of the week and just say, hey, just checking on you. And these aren't people that went to high school with you. These ain't people that went to college with you. These are people that you have immersed yourself and connected with that are like-minded in the same journey you're going through. And you don't even realize they going through the same thing until you start breaking it down and start talking to them and start really learning about their story. And I used to always be so afraid to find new friends because I'm like, well, my old friends were the ones that really had my back. I am learning. I'm telling y'all, I am learning that sometimes these new friends will have your back 10 times more than them old friends. And when I tell you your back, when you need someone to cry on and someone to be like, this is hitting the fan, I don't know what to do, God will always connect you and give you just what you need. You don't need 10 friends. You don't need 10 friends. We grown, we got kids, we got a lot going on. You just need about 2 or 3 that I know if I call them, they will stop what they're doing and really have my back. And if you have to think twice about, I don't know if I should call them because last time I called them, they said this or they did this and their energy wasn't right. You know those people and they bubble up to the top. And God is so amazing by connecting you with the right people at the right time that you would feel like you alone. And all of a sudden be like, whoosh, look at this.
Whew.
Oh my God.
Man, if that right there is not the truth. And I got to say that we have to be intentional about keeping ourselves open to those sorts of friendships, because there have been times where somebody has taken a true interest in me or my business, and I should have looked at that person like, wow, this could actually be a person that could help me get to the next level. They truly care about me. But because I'm so in my own mind, I don't even give that person the time or attention that they need because I'm just doing my own thing. And so sometimes we just have to stop and just evaluate and say, okay, who is in my life that has been consistent?
Yeah.
And then when you just start thinking about that, you're just like, okay, you know what? Wait, I've been putting all my energy over here in this friendship, and this friendship isn't yielding me anything. If anything, it's yielding me anxiety. I feel depleted after I have conversation with this individual, while I have somebody else over here on this side who's always calling and checking on me. You know what I mean? Who's always asking, how are you and Dwayne and the kids doing? I just wanted to call and check on you and see how I saw you on Facebook and Instagram. Seems like you're doing good, but I just want to see if everything's okay.
Yes.
And it's like a lot of the times we take those individuals for granted because we feel like, okay, they're going to be there. They're going to be there. They're going to be there. But it's just like, no, put your energy and your time into those people who actually are putting their energy and time into you. And so I have to remember to be intentional about that.
Yeah. I am 100% right there with you, because I think sometimes we just sprint and sprint and sprint, and then we be like, oh yeah, I need to reach out to them, and then you kind of forget. But I mean, we have to be so intentional with that, because that really goes a long way. Because a lot of the things people see you on Instagram, they think, oh my gosh, her life is perfect, but they don't know those internal struggles that you are personally still dealing with. Like, regardless of where you are, regardless of how many houses we may sell, how many things we get under contract, there are still those days that you have to check yourself, that you're like, there's a low day. Okay, I'm in my head. I need to remove myself. Let me find something else to do, because I'm, but So talk to me about what are those things that you do when you are in that place of like, I'm in my head, I'm feeling like I'm not enough. I feel like this thing is, I'm a, what's the word where it's like, gosh, I can't
Inadequate.
even think of the word. I'm just like, you feel like you're a fraud. You have those
Right.
moments of just feeling like I'm not what people may think I am. How do
That
you overcome that?
girl, that's that imposter syndrome. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes.
Okay, and can I tell you that I was just dealing with this yesterday? This is how I want you guys to know the real. I'm going to be as transparent as possible. This week has been a crazy week, and it may be hormonal. Who knows? It is that time. So who knows? But what I can say is that this week I felt really low. I felt I was feeling inadequate. I was feeling like I had that imposter syndrome. I started to feel like, am I even equipped to do what I'm doing? Am I equipped to teach people, how to do what I'm doing? And all that doubt starts to set in, and all that fear starts to set in. So I'm going to just tell you what I do when I start to feel that way and I start feeling overwhelmed by it. I simply have to go somewhere very quiet, and I just begin to meditate, and I just begin to breathe. And a lot of the times that doubt will start to enter my mind as I'm meditating. And so I've learned just through some guided meditation that as those thoughts come up, I just say in my mind, thought, thought. It's just a thought. And
Yeah.
then, and it's like a thought to me is like a cloud that it's in the sky, and after a while it just kind of disappears. And
Mhm.
so I have to, once I realize what it is that's causing me anxiety, I then start asking myself questions. So Lisa, why do you feel like this? Why do you fearful? Why do you feel like you're inadequate? Well, I feel like I'm inadequate because I've only been doing this, a short period of time. Okay. And so, since you've been doing it a short period of time, what part do you feel like you still need to develop in so that you don't feel inadequate? And then I start to answer those questions. Okay, well, I feel like I'm inadequate when it comes to my systems and my automation. And so I start to think about those things that if I improve them, they would actually make me feel a little bit better. And so those become my goals for the week. Those things that I jot down that make me feel like I would feel better if I got this accomplished. Those begin to become my goals. And then as I start to accomplish those goals, I start to get out of that rut. But I can tell you that as social media does not do it any good, because when I was feeling low, the last thing that I should have been doing was scrolling on Instagram.
That's
That
it.
was the last thing that I should have been doing. But what did I do? I got on Instagram because what do we need? We need that dopamine. We're feeling down. So we want to get on social media so that we can feel that dopamine hit. And I get on there and I'm scrolling, and people are closing deals like crazy, and people are going on vacation and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And then all that negativity that I was feeling, I start going down this whirlwind, and I start
Mhm.
getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it, where I'm just like, Talisa, stop
Yeah.
before you go too deep.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, it's a struggle, Deborah. It really is. And some days are amazing. Some days I feel like I'm the shit. Some days I feel like I can take on the world. I feel like everything is going well. And then a week later, I can literally feel like I haven't made any progress and that I'm there where I was 5 years ago, when I know that that's not true. I
That's
know that
true.
you know what I
Yes.
mean? So,
Yes.
what do you think? What do you think about that?
I totally agree with you. And some of the things that I do is I really try to start my day right, because if I don't start my day right, I'm gonna be all backwards all day. And so what I mean by start my day right is I start by trying to work out. I try to get into the gym. I try to do something, go run, do something to just get myself moving, get that blood flowing.
Mhm.
I also intentional about what I listen to. So I like gangster rap music when I'm crunk. but I really like gangster gospel. I don't
Right.
know, gangster. I mean, I love like gangster gospel. There's another word that's calling it, but that's just whatever.
I know what you mean.
But I love listening because it has a good beat, but it has a good meaning, and I'm giving all the glory to God.
Yeah.
And then I listen to podcasts, and I listen to podcasts that are uplifting, that are making me focus on personal development and making me focus on me, where I can then give to others, because you can't give to others if you don't have it to give in the first place. And if I'm encouraging my mentees to buy their first flip, or if I'm encouraging my agents to go out there and do cold calling, I got to give that to you. So in order for me to be filled up so I can give it to you, I got to start the day filled up, listening to positive podcasts. And it doesn't have to be an hour long, but there's like 2 or 3 that I listen to every day, no matter what. And they're really quick, and they just kind of get my mind focused on, it's not just about real estate, it's about the overall of how you're giving yourself and how you're showing up. The other thing I have done, I'm very intentional about what I see. Right. So before, when you're on Facebook, you just scrolling and you make everybody your friend, and you want to take everything of what everyone else is posting. These last 3 years, I have been very intentional about what I want to see. If you're posting about drama, I'm just going to unfollow you. We still friends, and you see that we still friends, but I'm not listening to that. If I feel like you being passive aggressive to me, unfollow. If I feel like anything that you given is not aligned with what I'm trying to do and me pursuing what I'm trying to do with success, if I'm not reading a positive quote to get me to the next level, if it's about ratchet stuff that does not give me any energy, that is not aligned to what I'm doing, I cut it out. Yeah. Because I have learned that life is just not given. I got to take it by the horns, and I need to take over. And I do that intentionally by what I see, what I hear, listening to these podcasts. I'm always listening to the Bible. If I don't have time to read it, I'm listening to it, because I'm very intentional about what I take in, because everything that I take in got to come out some way. Yeah. So if I'm taking in a lot of drama, a lot of just unnecessary stuff, that's going to come out in my relationships. That's going to come out in some way. So I'm very intentional about what I take in, who I see, what I'm dealing with. And there's just some people that if you call me, I'm just not picking up. You shoot me a text, though, I will take a text. But I just, especially in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Especially I refuse. And so previously, in my previous life, I was a principal. And I would have to sit there and let anyone that wanted to come into my office talk to me about whatever it was. And I would have a pile of stuff that I know I need to get done. But I would be like, come on in, let's talk about it. And with that, I learned life is just an exchange of energy, positive, negative, indifferent. It's an exchange of energy. And when someone comes into my office, when they would have to just explode about a kid or a parent or another teacher or another principal, whatever it was, I would just have to take it, and I would have to take that in. And then I would have to spend 2 hours unloading that somewhere else so that I could go back and be in the Deborah that I know I'm supposed to be. I don't do that no more. That job is over for me. So now I choose what energy I want to take in and what energy I'm not going to take. And there's just no tolerance for it. So there's some people that I just rather you just text me, because if I get on the phone with you and you're just like, hello, no, I can't do it today. Not today. No, not today. So and that has really changed it for me.
Yeah, you know what? And I have to second that for Deborah, you guys, because I went to the extent of changing my whole phone number. Literally changing my phone number. Nobody could contact me. And when I say nobody could contact me, not my mom, not my dad, not the only people that I was talking to was my husband, my children, and people involved with my business. That was it, because prior to making those boundaries, Deborah, first thing in the morning, when I wake up at 6 a.m., I already have somebody calling me, whether it's my cousin, whether it's my sister, whether it's somebody either trying to take my time or take my money.
Yeah.
every single day. It would start at 6 o'clock in the morning and it would not end till 9 p.m.
That's it.
So, and I was the kind of person where, well, they don't have anybody else in their life to encourage them. They don't have anybody to give them hope. And everybody calls me so that I can do that for them. And so
Mhm.
you start to feel like you're obligated to
Yeah,
give people your time. And then what it does is it ends up causing you to be resentful.
it does.
It
It
causes you
does.
to be resentful of them because by the time I'm done answering all these phone calls and everybody, they don't want 1 minute of your time. No, they want 30 minutes. They want an hour of your time. They want the whole thing. By the time you're done and you're feeling completely drained, you don't have energy for
You don't
anybody
have,
else. You don't
no,
even have energy for yourself.
no.
And so it got to the point with me where my stomach would cringe when seriously, when somebody would call, I'd literally look at the phone and be like, okay, should I answer? Should I not answer? Do they
Yeah,
know that I'm looking at my phone and
yeah,
about to reject their call? Like there's like so many things going through your head, but it's just like at the end of the day, you have to take care of you.
you do.
You
You
have to
do.
take care of you because people will drain the life out of you and
Yeah.
then they'll go to somebody else and then they'll drain the life out of them.
Yes. And think about it. Those same people keep coming back with the same problems. And you done talked to me about this problem about 3 or 4 times and you have not changed it. You know what? I'm going to stop giving you my free advice because I guarantee if you had to pay for it, you would probably do something with it.
No, seriously. Seriously though. Like we got to
Yeah.
just keep it all the way 100. And that which is why we charge. Which is why
Yeah.
now we have to charge for our information because Deba, I'm sure just like me, you were giving this information away for free to the people around you just because you wanted to help them. I want to get us out of this. I want to get our family out of poverty. I want to get our family to generational wealth. So, hey, you guys do this. This is how you can work on your credit. This is how you can buy a house. And you're giving them all this information. And then the next week they went and bought a new car,
Yeah.
or they
Yeah.
got a new bag, or
Yeah.
they, and they're posting on social media. And it's just like, you know what? I
That's it.
can't, I can't, I cannot, I can no longer give my time away for free. I'm learning from some very successful coaches in the game that we have to charge for our time, even if
We
it's
got
just a minute of our time.
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of an exchange. If you're not benefiting me spiritually, if you're not benefiting me financially, emotionally, then there's no room.
There's no.
There's just no room.
No. And I think it's more or less like we figured out who we were. We figured out what we brought to the table. We figured out our value and our worth. Because I will say, the days that I didn't know who I was, I could take all your time. Let's just go everywhere. I don't care. I don't have nothing to do. Then when you start realizing, like, I bring a lot to the table, I am the table. That's how
Right.
I am the table. I'm the table, I'm the legs to the table, I'm the chair, I'm all of these things. So and then one thing I had to start telling myself to, and I literally tell myself out loud, they don't have access to me. There's like levels to access to me. Y'all don't have direct access to me. I'm sorry. Like you just don't. And that's only when you start knowing who you are, you start realizing your assignment, you realize your purpose, you realize your lane. Like I'm not in competition with anybody else. I know my lane. I know what God has called me and my assignment to be, and I'm good. But not everyone has the direct access to me like they used
Right.
to. And
And
that's a beautiful thing to be able to be there in that space.
it is. So Deborah, when would you say that you finally came to that realization of, you know what? I don't need all these other individuals. Like I know who I am. Was there like a pivotal moment or an experience that kind of brought you to that or
I think it was a combination of several different moments. And I think it was one, I cut my hair because I always wore long extensions. And when I cut my hair, there was something of freedom of like, oh, this is really who I am. And I like this. I like the way I do what I do. And then I quit my job. I quit my principal job. And that was like the most amazing feeling of like quitting in the middle of the year in October. Those of you that have kids, think about it. Like as a principal leaving in October, you go to work on a Friday. Monday, I come back and I'm like, I'm out. Y'all can have this. I don't care what y'all do. Like I'm completely done. And then like the assistant superintendent calls and says, well, what would you like to tell the staff? I don't care. Matter of fact, y'all can read the resignation letter. I'm out. That is powerful because I'm very a people pleaser. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. I'd rather be uncomfortable.
Right.
So going through those different things, and then I've had to like step away a little bit from my family here and there just because you're on this new journey and not everyone understands it and they want to keep you in this box. They love me, but they still see me a certain way. And when I say, no, I can't do that, I got other stuff to do, it does cause a little bit of friction. Or, hey, that's not really what I want to do today. No, I just want to be at home. And saying no, having those boundaries, those type of things, and feeling uncomfortable when you're not invited, feeling uncomfortable when things don't go the way you expect them to go. Right. You just start learning yourself. Because I think what happens when you go on this journey of being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, it's more than just your business. Your whole life changes. Your whole mindset changes. Everything around you changes. And then there's something about being an entrepreneur is lonely. You by yourself, and you have to figure out who you are, what you bring to the table. And there's one of those like God cuts you a little bit.
Yeah.
And God makes you feel some pain and feel things, and from the people that you would never think you would feel those things from. But you know what? That is all part of the plan, because can't nobody else hurt me, because I don't need hurt anymore, because I'm more like, that's part of the season I had to go through. That's the lesson learned. I love you from afar. If you got to do what you got to do, that's cool. I love you.
Right.
And even like me having my real estate team, the people that I started my team with, are they still part of my team? Some of them are, but not all. But I can't say I can still break bread with the people that decided, you know what, this isn't where I want to be. It doesn't align with my goals. And the first one or two people that left, that stuff hurt. And that was like an emotional thing for me. But I had to go through it, and it hurt, but now I'm stronger for it. And I realized that, hey, not everybody's going to be with you forever. Yeah. It's not called their team. It's Deborah's team. The only person I know will be constant is me. And so I need to stand accordingly, and I need to move accordingly, and realize that this is just what God has called me to do. And when you're a leader, you do walk alone. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I need to walk with other people, but God sometimes puts you in situations and pulls the people that you think should have your back, should be the loudest people rooting for you, to be by yourself. So that when you do make it, or you feel like, okay, God, you did all of these things, you can't blame and put it on anybody else but God. And you can give him all the glory.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. That it's powerful, and it's so true. You know, and we talk about this entrepreneurial journey. It's not easy, you guys. It really isn't. And Deba and I are both on, you know, we're both on different levels of our journeys. We're both in different seasons. I would say that right now I'm still in that grind season. I'm still in that struggle season. And, you know, that season alone is very trying. It's very trying. And so you have to find something other than the money that's going to keep you and sustain you in whatever it is that you're doing. There's been multiple times where I've had to reevaluate the way that I'm doing things, because it did not necessarily align with what I thought that freedom would be like, what I felt like freedom. You know what I mean? We go into entrepreneurship wanting to ultimately be able to step away so that we can have the freedom that we desire.
Right.
And through this process, you end up in the business. You end up doing all the things, not necessarily doing all the things that you were doing in your 9 to 5, but you're working tirelessly as if, you know, there is no end to it. And
Mhm.
so, I've really had to just reevaluate several times throughout this journey to figure out what is going to be best for me. Who are the people that are benefiting me? The people that are on my team. Who is actually showing results and yielding the business profits versus those that are just here eating at payroll. And so
Yes.
and that right there has been something very difficult for me because, I've been in a situation where I've kept somebody in a role where they weren't necessarily bringing the business anymore leads. They weren't bringing in any, they weren't really doing what I was paying them to do. And because of that people pleasing mentality, I would just stay quiet.
Yeah.
I would,
Yeah.
and I would, say that, oh, yeah, things are okay, even though things are not okay. And so when Deba is talking about you have to be okay being in those uncomfortable situations, she is 100% being honest. Being uncomfortable does not mean that you're a bad person. It
No.
does not mean that you're inadequate. It means that you're real.
Yes.
It means that you're real, and people will respect you more if you are upfront with them. And those that get
Mhm.
offended, I mean, you can't please everybody. You
Mm-mm.
cannot please everybody. But if you're gonna do this business, you have to put you in the business first. And
Yeah.
sometimes that means booting people, helping them find a transition into their
That's
next more successful role. But that all takes time. Like when I first had to fire my first person when I worked at the school district, I was terrified. I was terrified to fire somebody. What if she comes back and tries to do something to me? Or,
right.
is this going to cause her family to be homeless? There's all these things that go through your mind when you're a people pleaser,
Mhm.
that you end up putting other things before yourself. And so that's something that I'm not going to lie, that's something that I still struggle with. Every day I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to speak up for myself. It's to the point now where if I have to have a tough conversation, I'm writing it in my journal. And I'm writing in my journal exactly what I need to say, exactly how I want the conversation to go. And the entire time, I might feel jittery, I might feel anxiety, but it's like when that conversation comes, I know exactly what I need to say because the spirit has told me.
Mhm.
The spirit's told me exactly what to say, has told me exactly how to handle it, and things actually end up going smoothly. But it takes for you to get uncomfortable for you to
Yeah.
be able to really see change. So,
Yeah, that's so true. And one thing I've learned is that feeling like if you are about to let somebody go, or if there's going to be that uncomfortable conversation, the other person already has a feeling too.
yeah.
They usually have that same feeling. They're just kind of like, let me see how far I can go until it's been called out. And when Talisa and I would meet and just have like happy hour, just hang out, those are things that her and I would always talk about. And she has helped me so much with just putting it out there, dealing with it, make it uncomfortable, and just dealing. And I think the last time we met up, I felt like I was more like Talisa. I was like, man, I'm gonna let that stuff sting. Like it should sting. That's uncomfortable for you. Like it's just gonna be that way. And I'm not, and I'm just like Talisa, a people person. I'd rather feel the sting and I deal with it than have you deal with it. But I'm at a point now that I'm like, no, I want you to feel that because when you feel that, that's where growth is going to come. I
Mm,
feel it too. And the thing about it that I think one thing we have to do better at is reading more books,
yeah.
getting exposed to things that make us uncomfortable, that make us see the world differently. Like, yes, we all have our own political stance, but just take a moment to listen to the other side, just
Mm,
so that you have a view. Hey, we don't agree with it, but you get another point of view of what the same principles that you may have, the other side see it a different way. There's something about just being able to have awareness, and
Yeah.
understand that side. And I think that's something that both of us being in education and dealing with people, because that's what you're dealing with every day, if it's kids, parents, staff, whatever it is,
Yeah.
we have a better understanding of like how you deal with people and how you just say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. We can agree to disagree. But the point of just being okay to know that we don't agree with everything. I remember growing up in my household, my parents loved listening, watching CNN. That was just something that was like channel 7 o'clock in the afternoon while everybody else was watching regular shows. We watching CNN. And so you're getting to see the world on the news. But in the mornings, my parents were very intentional that they would put on Fox News in the morning. But I'm like, that's just like one extreme to the other. But not knowing, and I'm sure they didn't even know why they were doing it, but I was able to see two different sides, because Fox News is totally right. And then you got CNN that's just throwing, I mean, so it's totally different worlds, but the same story, you hear and how it's twisted from one side to the other, either good or bad, but you then can find your truth somewhere in the middle. But if you're only listening to one side, how are you going to find your truth in the other side if you don't know another way? You have to
Um,
know another way. And that's with business, that's with finances. We've all been taught this is how we should do it. Is that the right way to do it? No, take some time to read a book, something that challenge your thinking so that you can really have some foundation in whatever you believe in.
Oh man. And let me just talk about real quick because I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I just want to piggyback off of what you said, Deba. Um, and this is as it relates to politics. Everybody in my family has always been Democrat. I naturally, became a Democrat. And as I've been in this business of real estate investing, I've encountered a lot of different political views. And so, one person, Pace Morby, he is like the king of like creative finance. Uh,
Yeah.
he posted the other day, and he's a Republican. I'm a Democrat. But one thing that he said was that although I'm a Republican and although you're a Democrat, he says when we go to the gas station, we're both paying the same
Mhm.
amount when we go to the gas station. The government is still, getting what they want out of the both of us. He said, and when I invest, he said, I choose to invest in red states and Republican states. And he says, not just because I'm a diehard Republican. He says, but for the fact of the matter, the Republican states, their real estate investing laws are more geared towards landlords versus tenants, whereas a lot of the democratic states, they favor the tenants. So you'll have tenants being able to stay in their properties without paying. You'll have them go to court and the judge will rule in the tenant's favor if you're in California. And so the Republican states are just more the laws are just more geared towards real estate investors. And so understanding his position and why he represents the Republican why he represents the Republican side, it it's clear to me that his reasoning is strategically based on how this Republican Party can benefit his business. And so it got me out of the mindset set of blue and red, Democrat, Republican. So it's like, everybody wants you to vote a certain way and everybody wants you to vote a certain color. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, we really have to look at what are the laws and the policies that are being put into place in this particular state, and how is this going to affect me personally? Yes, it's selfish. It's entirely
Yeah.
selfish. It is, but you have to learn to play the game.
Yes. And you know what? I was telling my husband about this the other day. We grew up thinking life is fair. We grew up that everyone should be equal and that we should all be fair. And then we get all our panties in a wad because they didn't do that fair. And we get so caught up in that, well, that's not the way it was supposed to be. When was the last time you were passed off on a promotion? It happens often. Life ain't fair.
Right.
When is it that your child was the one supposed to be playing first and they didn't because you not showing up, kissing the head coach's behind? I used to be a head coach. I know the game. It's real. Life is not fair. Life is here for the taking. Who's going to take it and run with it? Not wait to be given an opportunity. Opportunities are not going to be given to you unless you're not working for it. You got to work for it. You got to step up and say, what do I get out of this situation? And I think, unfortunately, we have been taught for decades that life is fair. It's not fair. So when you're thinking about who you're going to vote for, when you're thinking about what school do you want your kids to go to, what is the benefit for you and your family? That's the bottom line. And we are real estate investors because, one, yes, we love what we do. We love the freedom that it brings. We love the opportunity to help people. But we also love the monetary gifts and things we get from it. Let's keep it real. Like, we do like that. That's the ultimate. Like, I want to have abundance because if I have abundance, I can give more to my church. I can give more to charities that I've invested in. So I need the abundance. But I'm not looking for fairness. I'm looking for what's going to make sense for me and my family, what's going to make sense for me to help you, but I'm still focusing on me because life ain't fair. And I spent so long of my life trying to make life fair. And then I realized this is not no, cut that out. Cut it out. Because it's not fair. No one's really looking out for you but you. Right. And remember, you owe you. Once you start, you owe you. You don't work too hard to get to where you've been. You done overcame so many things to get to where you are. You are enough. If you don't hear anything else that we say on this podcast, you are enough. You bring enough value to enough people to be phenomenal. You are worthy. Damn what everybody else say. God has called you for such a time as this for you to show up because people need you to show up for the other lives that you're going to make a difference for. You have to take that by the reins and run with that. And if you focus on that, God will open up so many doors for you. And then you're going to realize, I don't know how this happened, but it happened. And I know life is not fair, but I'm going to do good with what God has given me. And you can try to make a equal playing field, but you better look out for you first.
Woo. You got to look out for you first. And real quick, you guys use the tools that you already have. God has already equipped you with skills. He's already equipped you with the tenacity. He's already equipped you with the creativity. He's already given you all the things that you need. Don't be like me, where I felt like I need other things. Yes, I have this, but I still need the capital. I still need this. Work with what you have and watch God move mountains just with the little bit that you have. He says that if I give you a little and you do good, then that means that I can trust you with a lot.
Amen. Yeah.
So if you're at your job right now and you're managing 3 people, manage those 3 people with the utmost integrity, with the utmost respect. Be a servant leader. Be a servant leader. Do what you need to do for those 3, and God will put you over 300. Yes. Do what you need to do with the $500 that you have sitting in your savings, and He will multiply that to 500,000. But if you can't even use the small things that He's already given you, then how can He feel comfortable enough to give you more?
Absolutely. That is so true. I mean, that is where it is, because everything that you're going through, God is just building your skill set. Think about this. How many times, Talisa, and everything that you're doing, you're like, man, I used to do this in my old job.
Oh, and my goodness.
Just transfer those skills into my own job, in my own, business.
Every single day. And I'm like, wow, God, that's why I went through that. When I first started at the school district and they hadn't reconciled their books, because you guys, I'm from an accounting background. And so I got to a school district, they hadn't reconciled their books in 6 months. So I had to go all the way back 6 months and reconcile their bank statements, reconcile their trial balance, reconcile all these things. And it was daunting. There were times that I would go to the office with knots in my stomach because I could not figure out this puzzle piece. Now that I'm in my own business and I'm having to reconcile my bank statements and I know how to do this,
Yeah.
because there was a season in time where I was going through a struggle season at my job, having to learn that. And I couldn't figure out, God, why are you putting me through this right now? Why do I have to go through this? And now I see how that skill set has now transferred into my business. So yes, absolutely, Deborah. It happens all the time, every single day.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Because I mean, one thing I always remember telling myself, especially when things get really rough and you're feeling like I'm doing all these things and I don't see any type of improvement, and I don't see anything coming from it.
Mm.
I always tell myself, just be like David. David was out there in the shepherd just following over his sheep. He was minding his own business. He had his head down, focusing on what God called him to do. Until then, other people saw him and gave him favor to do what his next assignment was. And so I always catch myself and say, you know what? I'm just going to be like David. This is what God called me to do right now. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to focus on it. Even though I see all the glitz and glamour of other people. Oh, they just got a new car. Oh my goodness, they just got this. Put your head down and focus. That's none of my business. My business is where God has called me to be, right here where my feet are planted. And I literally look at my little small little houses I got. That's my focus. That's my sheep right now that I'm hurting over. I see other people, they're buying apartment units and they're doing all these different things. That's not where my assignment is right now. I'm okay with that. But you have to go through those things. If you're comparing yourself, you'll never be happy. You'll never get to that point of being success, because there's always going to be someone that's going to be bigger than you. There's always going to be someone that has more influence than you. That's just where the world is.
Yeah.
But God has called you for such a time for you to do what you need to do to influence the people around you.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. I hate that this is ending, but this has been such a great first episode for us, Deborah. Let's leave the people with one more gem, one more just something to encourage them and keep them going this week. I'll let you go first, and then I'll finish us off.
Yes, one gem that I want to leave you with, and it's something that Talisa had already mentioned. It's already in you. Whatever dream that you have talked about or thought about, and you may have not even told anybody about, it's already in you. So go ahead and jump into it. Be calculated, come up with the business plan, whatever that may be, but it's already in you. And if this is maybe a sign of just another way of manifesting that, we are telling you, the world needs you to step into your own, because there's lives behind you stepping into your own.
Oh, that's powerful. Um, I'm just going to end off by saying, start today by changing your circle.
Whew.
Start today. If there's people in your life that give you that anxiety when they call, maybe it's time to put them on do not disturb. Um, find your tribe. If there's somebody that you want to take their coaching from, sign up, take their
Mhm.
coaching. Deb, I think you posted something the other day. You said everybody who was successful had a coach.
Yes.
LeBron had a coach. Who else? I mean, every athlete has a coach. It's the
Yes.
exact same way in this business or anything that you're trying to get into. And if your coach costs too much for you to attend, then find some of their master classes to go to that are less expensive. Find
Yes.
them on YouTube and do the YouTube University where you are listening to every single one of their episodes until you have enough money to take their coaching. Do
Yes.
whatever you need to do to get into that presence so that you can be around that energy, so that you can start vibrating that same way. This is something that you guys can do today. Okay. All righty. Well, I really enjoyed this. This was great. This was our first episode.
We did it.
We did it. And we look forward to bringing you guys more episodes, more content. Let us know what you guys want to talk about, what you would like for us to talk about. And we'd love to have you on the show. So if you're in real estate investing and you want to come onto the podcast and share your story, we'd love to have you reach out to us. And yeah, we will see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.